And let's see those hands of those who feel that you're like really creative. All right. So here's where I have to tell you that we are all incredible creative human beings. Since the moment that we're born and light just hits the eye, we are creating images and imagination is happening. We're all incredible creative beings. Just something happens throughout our life that we grow out of our creativity. And as of the two speakers that just passed before, I just keep thinking about, connection is the solution to so many things for me. Connection has been for me the solution for my addictions. Connection has been my solution for my traumas with my past families. In the work that I do, in the work that I do, I get people to tell their stories a lot, and I don't get to tell mine, so I feel like I'm on the spot that I have to do some storytelling tonight. So I was born and raised in a fog forest in Colombia. I come from past generations of colonization in South Central and North America. And when I was 15, around there, I moved to Guatemala City. And this was kind of like the change that happened as I was growing up. And some of you might relate with me on the changes that happened when we changed from one atmosphere to the other. And growing up in Guatemala, in this city here, I realized that I realized what colonization looks like in a city, and racism and homophobia, and just the deep sense of connection that needed a place like that. So in that search, I'm just gonna start putting these images up. In that search, I came to this northern landscape, and I was really thirsty for processes that were engaging people to connect with each other, and for people to connect with themselves and their story, and to create a sense of community by making collaborative pieces. So some of the stories that I'll tell you tonight will be kind of like a reflection of how I came about to do this process, that it's so connected with individual stories, and I see my story always in connection with the people that are creating the art. I'll tell you about when I came to this area, and I went through many years of education in arts. I didn't really feel that I could really expand myself as a creative person. I was continuously finding walls and constrictive agendas into what creativity was. So it was when I left university and I started looking for leaders. Very quickly, in the search of belonging and in search of community, I ran into indigenous spiritual leaders, mostly Israeli Truth Nation and Lami Nation, who really guided me on how to be kind with each other and how to open spaces that were welcoming. And also in that search, I found a lot of youth empowerment work. And one of the stories that really stands out for me on how I was able to expand my understanding of connection with human beings was when I was in a mining blockade. It was Canadian mining that was digging gold in Guatemala, and this is where part of my family lives. And I am like the whitest person in the camp. There's probably like 200 people. And at 2, 3 in the morning, I see the indigenous women leaders who were like holding space in this whole camp. And they're feeding the police, and the police was in a lineup, and I just couldn't believe in my eyes, just being like, what the hell is going on? This is like the same police that were holding these women down 2 days before on the ground, and I just couldn't believe it, and I realized that I was the only one who was enraged in this camp, and I was the one who was coming from Canada with like all this white privilege and coming with like a painting to try to save the world. I felt incredibly confused. So one of the leaders sat with me, and she just, with a huge heart, just really taught me about love and compassion. And I feel like my artistic view of the world, by artistic I just mean in connection, like my connection to all, just changed completely. And I realized that a lot of the images that I was facilitating to produce still contain a lot of anger and contain a lot of resentment. And this was just my projections of my own guilt of my ancestry. And And I was like, okay, I'm on diapers when it comes to like love and compassion. I thought I had it all figured out. And so time went by, and as I was continuing looking for this search, there's another moment that I would like to share with you, and this was when I was with the way how art really benefits in all this is that with art, I'm able to process my own emotions. We live in a really competitive society where we are asked to be the best student, the best employee, the best high school teacher, the best beauty wearer. And actually we were talking about this today. And we realized that we can't really be our true selves with each other because we are in this constant competition. And so when we open a space to create, we allow ourselves to feel anger, to feel sadness, to feel fear, to be like, oh yeah, I feel this, I experience fear. And when we become more articulate with our bodies, with our emotions, then I feel that our heart just naturally opens up to be able to connect with each other. And so on that, I would like to share a little bit about some of the photos that you're seeing here. This is Jewel James, and he's a totem pole carver, and he gives the totem pole every year to different communities. And this community, he gifted a totem pole to Beaver Lake Cree Nation, so that to honor the resistance that they've been doing on the fossil fuels in northern Alberta for the tar sands. And one of the stops, we're stopping in different cities, one of the stops was at the St. Mark's Cathedral. And in the St. Mark's Cathedral, which is the first photo that you saw on the presentation, there was, St. Mark's Cathedral in Seattle is a Catholic church. And I didn't think that in my life I was going to witness nuns being smudged by indigenous women as they were coming into the church, and having indigenous leaders on the altar with the priest talking about Mother Earth and talking about how we all really needed to come together. And I think that what really brought us together in that moment was the magic and energy that this totem pole held. It was the art that really brought people together, that was able to convey a story. As the totem pole was passing around, a lot of people put prayers on the totem pole. And I really do think that when we are creating art, we are exercising this muscle of imagination. We are opening capacity to reinvent what is not here, to imagine possibility. And I think that energy creates what, like the breaking point. For so many years I've focused on what is not working, which is important, but it's like focusing on the disease. That it's like, how do we open space through art so that we can generate more hope and sense of connection among us? 30 seconds over? Oh, that was awesome. Great, yes. So, okay. Actions. We have some of these on the back. These are all community initiatives for you to engage in some clowning, in mural painting. There's a kindness collective. There is free form dance. So come check it out on the back and expand your heart through art. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I gave you the stone that was labeled love. And I mean, it's interesting when you talked about, yes, exactly, when you talked about, I love this, being in diapers for love and compassion, right? So for those of us who are in diapers, when it comes to love or compassion or even creativity, do you have anything for us that can get us out of diapers?
The ripple effect about starting with self, which I am on diapers on that, the more that I find out of how big my ego is, the more that I realize that I have more work to do. But I think that starting with the self-love And art can really open a lot of space for us to get to know ourselves deeper. And then that automatically falls into the relationships around us. And then those are the systems that we manipulate. And then, through generations, we can shift some cultural values.
Thank you very much. Thank you.